took me more effort than I thought. If I had known what I was getting into, I never would have done it. But it works. Okay, let's take a quick look at performance. These things should be updating about once a frame, and from what I'm seeing, it's kind of coming and going. Sometimes it's keeping up with the 60 frames a second that it's attempting. Other times it's slowing down a little bit. You wouldn't really notice if it wasn't for that debug info. Let's try changing something here. 1 Mississippi. Okay, a second to do the loading, and there's a lot of initialization. There's some one-time stuff just so I can try to keep the frame rate up. You probably know more than I do about the frame rate. If you hit pause, you can see that. Now that is all, well, I've been learning to program the right way, the new way, the GPU-friendly way. Now let's go through this because I'm a little bit confused about my background noise pattern, and I'm trying to debug it, and as much as I squint at the screen, it just doesn't help. So now, let's just do a summary of what's out there. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Ooh, that was fast. Faster than it usually was. Let me try that again. Oh, see, now it's slowing down, just for no obvious reason. No, it's because of the script, because of those details. All right, one more time. 1 Mississippi. Whoa. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's warning me that I'm doing things the wrong way. Everything's been optimized for the GPU, and I'm reading it into memory to load stuff the traditional way. And I was just walking over every pixel. This is set up for 4K, so I think that's about 8 million pixels. Somewhere around there, and just iterating through and looking at the min, max, and average. All I'm doing is summing up a bunch of numbers basically to see what I got from that random number generator, the noise generator. And I was surprised. I didn't think I was getting any alpha. I thought that would be frozen, so I'm glad I finally did this. And that's why you see so many of these things. It's not getting overridden properly every time. The alpha is, I thought it was totally opaque, but I wasn't, so each frame isn't starting fresh. So there's the bug I found, and again, just a little look at performance. Okay, so that was about half a second. I saw it taking 2 seconds before. Maybe I should unplug my computer. That might slow it down a little. Whoa, it actually did. I can see the frame rate drop over here a lot. So it's just reacting to all sorts of things. In any case, just a look at how operations done the quick way. I mean, I'm going over this, changing every pixel here slightly, every frame, versus counting them up takes so much longer. Have you been to this website? It's one of my favorites when it comes to SVG filters. You can really see stuff going on. There's so much, so many samples. Whoa. Short version, these filters are just incredibly powerful. I have to steal this one. I like that paper. Yeah, these are such powerful things, and it's as close to programming as you're going to get to in the SVG world. This is all done in GPU-friendly ways, too. That's why you have this weird setup. If you tried using normal JavaScript, you wouldn't get the same performance. Not even close. So here's one that I've been messing with, and this shows off the problems that I've been having. So what is it? Component transfer. This is a fancy way to set the colors of the image. I mean, that's what most of these things are, just a formula for the color of each pixel based on various inputs. So can I get rid of some of this? Okay, so basically I've said that these three channels are unchanged, and here's a line, basically the line from 0, 0 to 1, 1, so it makes no difference. But let's say I want to make the green channel darker. Let's set the slope to 0.5. So I just sucked some of the green out. And of course there's the intercept, so maybe I didn't want less green, I just wanted less division here. Less contrast, less difference. So the average color, the average amount of green is the same. The only thing that's changed is the extremes are gone. And, okay, maybe that doesn't sound very exciting. You know what, to make the math simpler, I'm just going to go back to 0. I'm doing this without a script. Okay, so yeah, I just cut the amount of green in half. Now let's do it again. Let's say component transfer. Identity, usually you don't even have to say that, you can just leave it out, but I like their GUI here. It's very useful. Now, by the way, all these examples, you don't have to worry about doing these fancy things that I'm doing. You can just start with the examples from here or anywhere on the web. And the nice thing about SVG, you can change it just like you change any other HTML element. You can use all the tools that you're used to. A lot of things you can even use the animation stuff. Here, I had to do the animation in a loop. This doesn't directly talk to CSS animations. But again, these are just values. If you can change HTML to whatever you want, you can change this to whatever you want. Okay, so where were we? We got everything except for the green. And let's say linear functions are very powerful. Let's change the slope to 2. Ah, there we are. So I undid that half by multiplying it by 2, but the question I'm asking is there something weird going on back here? This background, it's where it seemed cleaner. Disable. Hard to say. Maybe that background already had some issues. All right, let's try this again. Let's say a slope of 1/4 to make it even darker, and then fix that again. So far so good, I think. How about a slope? Let's make it a 1/10. And 10. Okay, now I think I'm starting to see something finally. I guess in the editor I can pull these up side by side. Okay, let's go a little bit, whoops. Let's go a little bit further. Let's take that down to 1%. Take it up 100%. Ah, now we're seeing something. I guess we lost our green? No, we still have something there. We just lost the detail in the green, and that's what I was kind of trying to see before, but it was a little bit fuzzy. And that's part of the problem. That's why I came to this extreme example, because I was noticing things that were just a little bit fuzzy, and they were hard to track down. And finally, you know, there's nothing like brute force to, you know the phrase. If brute force isn't doing it for you, you're not using enough of it. Let's take it down to 0.1%. And yeah, now it couldn't recover. So what exactly is happening? Normally, when I multiply something by 1,000th and then by 1,000, they balance. In fact, let's Let's try a different color. I'm just curious if I can... Basically, if you have a gradient, or something crazier like this is the actual thing that was giving me trouble, you don't want banding. You don't want people to obviously see when the colors change. And the only way that works is if you have a whole lot of colors to deal with. And the Mac, well, I've been learning a lot. It supports 10 bits compared to the normal 8 bits that are traditional. It does 10-bit color in a lot of places. And more important, I got this working because I was using the canvas, and if you do it right, the canvas uses floating point numbers if you set it up right. Now there's still limits, but that is how I could get these so smooth and not turning into this thing that's... All right, here, let me try this one more time. The red, we'll say, is at 1%. Yeah, you can kind of see now where it's just broken up. There just aren't enough colors. There's a big splotch of this bright thing, big splotch of this dark thing, and then maybe this is an attempt at dithering. And again, these things would be subtle at first, and I kept fighting with this stuff, trying to get this... Oh, it's such a powerful tool, and I was just trying to optimize it to its best. When I finally found out the problem, no matter what these individual things do, in between them, they're always going to RGB. So when I say multiply this by 0.01, divide it by 100, I'm taking numbers that were between 0 and 255, and now they're going to be numbers between 0 and 2. So you really only get 3 shades of red. And then I blew it back up again, so the average might be close, but you still only have 3 shades to deal with. And that is just the hugest limitation that I've run into. I've been messing with the new colors a lot. RGB is great, but there is newer, better stuff out there. And I'm just a little bit frustrated that it doesn't work as well as it should. Again, this really is a great way to get started. For a lot of things, it's absolutely good enough, and you shouldn't even think about those details. In fact, I still used an SVG filter to start this, to get the noise. Let me see if I can find it. So yeah, I was using a turbulence effect. Will they give me a turbulence effect? There it is. Oh, let's move this up to the top. I really wish I knew how to use computers. Okay, so here we have a turbulence effect. This is noise. This is a noise generator. It's creating 3 channels of just random data. So here's the filter as I'm actually using it. And then what I was doing, well, first of all, let's get rid of some of that alpha in here. And that's actually one of the bugs that I've been hunting down. Identity, 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 alpha. There's probably an easier way to do this. Let's say a slope of 0 and an intercept of 1. And if you're not used to doing math in your head, that means always 1. All right. Whoa, I never knew that. Apparently frequency is 2-dimensional. I guess it's, okay, this looks a little closer to what I was saying. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And again, okay, so let's get rid of that. So we definitely need that, or else the transparency is going to make this useless. And now the question is, what happens if we add, if we take that red, I don't know, 0.5, 0.1, and then once again another one of these. And everyone has to have a name, which I find annoying. It's you have to have a unique ID for everything to use SVG, or to use a lot of features of it. Okay, so let's multiply this by 10. Okay. I need these side by side. I wish there was an easier way to flash between them. Okay, you can definitely see the effect where there's only like little blotchy things. What if I were to say 50? I'd probably get twice as many of these. Yeah, so I have twice as many bands. Okay, so that's actually showing it off in a good way. I mean, look at those bands, and how does that compare to the smooth color you see for other things? You know, there's one shade of red, and another shade of red, and another. Let's go up to 3 here. Ooh, now that's finally working. Again, the problem is so obvious if you take it to its extreme. And what is the problem again? The colors are getting nuked. They're getting clamped. Every time you do one of these, some of these can be just slightly more advanced than RGB, but in between each one of these, everything gets cut down to RGB, and that's not how you do things. I remember high school chemistry, they were discussing, might have even been before then, when do you round off? And if you round off every 2 seconds, you're not going to get the right answer. So anyway, this is why. Now I still use this to start. I still use the turbulence to get me started, and this is good data from 0 to 255. Actually, we worked it out. We know exactly what. Yeah, so we're getting numbers in this range, and what I want to do is pull them as quickly as I can, pull them into the canvas, and then I'm using the canvas to do the fine-tuned adjustment, and that's why I don't see the bands here. And I know I'm talking a little bit fast. There's code to go with all this. I'll leave a link in the description. And actually, I'm changing something because of that bug. Let's see, enable. Yeah, so this is what I'm extracting as noise out of that thing just to begin with. It's random noise with, I can change the turbulence here, the bass frequency, and some other things. But just a random seed, just so things just look different. So there's a look inside my code. I don't think I said linear. I did it a different way, but the same basic idea. Welcome to SVG Filters. Some powerful stuff out there, but some of it's a little hard to use and you have to pay attention. One nice thing about filters and SVG in general, the AI knows a lot about it. It's not always perfect, but it's better at this than some subjects. Again, I don't want to go through, I don't want to write a JavaScript loop that goes through every single pixel and sets this. I could, but instead let's do it the fast way, the modern way, the 2025 GPU way. So here's my turbulence. This is totally unrelated, drop shadows used in other places. And a filter is always a series of filter elements, which confused me at first, but it makes sense. The output of one is typically the input of the next. So let's see if I made a difference here. Well, then let's try one more thing and see if that isn't doing what I think it's supposed to be doing. So all the alpha's up. You know what? It's one of those things where I'm going to see it better after I watch the video. I bet it's working better now. Now I can still tweak all these things as much as I want. They got brighter suddenly. But the only question is if I'm seeing... Whoa, again, it got to a difficult spot. There's just so many details, and now the frame rate isn't keeping up. And yeah, I think I saw what I needed to see. When it's live, sometimes you see a whole bunch of stuff, and you don't know if that's your eyes playing tricks on you or if it's actually in the frame. But I think I fixed this. I do love this range of colors, but I just need to keep tweaking it to make it the colors that I like. That purple at the bottom is just so you know you're not seeing it at the right aspect ratio. It always draws itself right, and that's just part of the tools. It's focused on a specific aspect ratio, and it does its best to show you in the space you've given it. It kind of has to be, since this is aimed at making movies, and the movies have an aspect ratio. This is just the development version. This is just me watching and trying things. I wonder if this will show up on the... Yeah, so this is the same problem, and I never noticed this before. I made a shadow the normal SVG way. I think that was that drop shadow. And yeah, there's just not a whole lot of details here. And again, I can possibly use the same tricks that I've been using to make that shadow look a lot better.